everybody, let's go. Saints fans stand up now. Let's hear for the black and gold. Now let's go. It's rainbow everywhere. Any competition, yeah, we coming to get you. Let's go. Saints fans stand up now. Let's hear for the black and gold. Now let's go. It's rainbow everywhere. You better run it high, cause we coming to get you.
Saints plus soul equals Super Bowl. Ask King, ask Soul, now you've been told. Back and go, we on the road, and we big and bold. You opened up your mouth, now you're knocked out cold. We coming to get ya, I bet you won't win. Left hook, right hook, again and again. We got that high-powered offense with that lethal bunch. We're the bullies of the block, and we'll take your lunch. So to all of my who-that's across the land, and to all other teams that don't understand, we coming to get ya, I go, and Super Bowl. We gonna beat the Lombardi, black
everybody, let's go. Saints fans stand up now. Let's hear for the black and gold. Now let's go. It's rainbow everywhere. Any competition, yeah, we coming to get you. Let's go. Saints fans stand up now. Let's hear for the black and gold. Now let's go. It's rainbow everywhere. You better run it high, cause we coming to get you. Who there? Who there? Who there? Who there?
Saints plus soul equals Super Bowl.
Welcome to another special Thursday night edition of Tell It Like It Is Sports Talk Podcast, where we don't sugarcoat shizzly, just real talk from real people. I'm your host, Soul Saint, along with my co-host from Dirty Bird Country, Atlanta, Georgia, my man David King.
What up, everybody? Louisiana versus all of y'all, baby.
Tonight, we don't have my guy, Mike No Filter Tannehill, so the show must go on. But we got a special guest tonight. We have a special guest, a good friend of mine, former New Orleans Saint and Saints Hall of Fame inductee, John Fourcade. Let's welcome John to the show.
Hey, guys. So I want to know one thing. Did you get a Grammy Award for that video?
I hope so. I hope I get the 2021 one. Did you like it?
It was fun. Hey, look, it was my first time seeing it. Yeah, it was in. How many takes did you have to take, though? I want to know. Did you get it the first couple of them, or you had to take 10 or 12?
What, you talking about takes?
Yeah, how many takes you have? You know, like when I do a commercial.
Just two.
Well, that's pretty doggone good. That's really good.
Thank you, man. Look, I want y'all to know my boy John. For those of y'all that maybe young Saints fans out there, this guy has one of the top 100 touchdowns of all time, and is one of the greatest Follies touchdowns of all time, man.
Yeah, it is.
Check it out, David. Let's check out this touchdown, man.
All right.
Quarterback John Fourcade of the New Orleans Saints authored one of the wildest plays in pro football history against the Rams in 1987.
Oh, no.
Deep down the near sideline. To the 50, to the 45 of the Saints.
Hot potato.
This is a lineman. This one's going to be seen on the highlights for a long, long time.
Woo!
28. The ball goes loose with the Saints.
It's on a little speed there, John.
Look at that, huh?
30, 25, 20, 10, into the end zone for the touchdown.
Yeah, I use it. They had a mask right there ready for me with oxygen. Trust me.
You know what I like about that, though? This is before really a lot of the NFL players were showboating, but you showboated a little bit because you look back and you kind of put the ball back at him a little bit there, Mr. Fourcade.
Well, look, I was so tired after that. I look back to just see, anybody else chasing me. I mean, I outran everybody. I just, who else was left to chase me?
John, you have had a long career in and around football. You played at Shaw, so you're a hometown boy. You went to Ole Miss, where you broke Archie Manning's yardage record. Then, ironically, another Manning broke yours.
Well, look, I want to thank Eli for not breaking all of them. He left me one record, and I still hold the most interceptions in a season, so I still have that one.
then you started for the Saints in the strike season. You went 2-1. Then you made the team. Tell us about your time with the Saints back then.
Well, I was the year before the strike season. I was in training camp with the Saints. We had Dave Wilson, Richard Todd, Bobby Hebert, and myself, and I had a real good preseason training camp. And I was shocked that they released me. I was disappointed. I wasn't happy about it. And then the strike season hit, and I was so frustrated. I was at the airport going to the Raiders, and Jim Finks found out I was going to the Raiders because I had dropped my brother off at the Saints camp, and he was like, "Well, where's John?" And my brother said, "Look, he's going to sign with the Raiders." Well, he met me at the airport, Jim Finks. He convinced me, for some reason, somehow, I took his word for it that I have an opportunity in New Orleans. I really didn't want to go to Oakland, but I probably would have had a better shot in the Raiders. But look, the Saints gave me an opportunity. The strike season hit 2-1. And then they expanded the roster, and they kept, I think, eight extra players. I was one of them. I just worked hard and trained hard, and I went from the third quarterback up to the second quarterback, and then I eventually got to be the starter. I had a great time here. I wish it would have lasted longer. My last year there, I tore my rotator cuff and Tommy John surgery on my elbow after the playoff game against the Bears in Chicago. It's hard coming back from a shoulder, rotator cuff injury, and an elbow injury all in the same year. So it put me back 2 years, and nobody's taking a quarterback after that. So they released me, and I tried to get on other teams, but having the surgeries and the injuries. But look, I played with the Saints, never had a losing record here. Played 4 years, took them to the first ever, playoff appearance, and look, the rest is history. I didn't set great records. I was here for 4 years. I was very fortunate, got to play my hometown. I'm thrilled, and I'm excited to be an ex-New Orleans Saints player.
It's ironic that you was on the Saints team with Bobby Hebert. You played against Bobby in college. Not college. Yeah, college.
High school.
Right. My bad. It was the semifinals to the championship, wasn't it?
Yes, we went down to South Lafourche. We jumped out early on them. They came back and a couple of critical. I know how the Saints feel now when it comes to penalties and not going your way.
Right.
Home cooking. There was some things, but look, we had a chance to really beat them. They came back, 2 onside kicks. They recovered. They hit an 88-yard run. I threw a winning touchdown at the end of the game. They called it back, saying I was over the line of scrimmage. That's still debatable. But you are playing on the road. You know how that goes. You play it on the road at their home field. But look, you can say the better team won that game. They came back and won it. But hey, look, Bobby was a good guy back in the day. He did well for himself. Went off to win a state championship and went off to college at Northwestern. I went to Ole Miss, and roundabout way we ended up both back in the New Orleans Saints.
I know that's so ironic, man. I know you had a good time at Ole Miss. I heard. Now, tell me, is this true that you dated one of Donald Trump's wives?
Ooh. Yes. Let's. Well, I dated Marla Maples back in college, my senior year. I was very lucky. She went to Georgia. My college buddy that went to Georgia was Buck Ballou. He was a quarterback at Georgia. We became friends in my high school days. We became friends. We knew each other, and he introduced me, and one thing led to another, and I didn't know anything about it. But here's a great story, though. I was the Grand Marshal of Endymion one year, 1990, and back then he had the National Enquirer, People Magazine. They were coming to interview me, and I'm like, okay, you're going to interview me about the Saints, Endymion, Grand Marshal. I'm all excited. No, they interviewed me about, hey, tell me about Marla Maples. I see you used to date her. I'm like, what's Marla Maples got to do with me here in New Orleans? Well, that's when she got busted with Donald Trump on a ski slope, and they found out that I dated her when I was in college. They wanted some scoop on her. I had nothing bad to say about her. But all I know is, hey, Donald Trump, I had it before you did, my friend.
That's crazy.
Wow. now, y'all didn't prepare me for this story. You're blown away with this one. Wow.
Yeah, man. Look, I told you we got some. Hey, and it's crazy because we're gonna get to the Saints a little bit. Mr. Fourcade, we good friends and everything. Every time I see him, we take pictures and everything. We've been cool. We did bump heads a couple of times, not in person.
No, it's custom to do that.
Look,
We have disagreements.
And it's been on. It was on Jameis Winston. You asked me why. One time you asked me, why am I so into Winston, but not in those words. You said he was terrible. Now, after all that has happened, do you feel the same way, and why?
Well, let me ask you before I answer that question. When Winston was playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what did you feel about him then?
Well, of course, he wasn't a Saint.
Okay,
Anybody that plays for another team,
I'm not talking about that. His playing ability. The man's got talent. All right, I'm gonna say this: the man's got talent. He's probably still raw. I really believe he had bad coaching in Tampa. I'm gonna give him that much credit. Bad coaching in Tampa. The philosophy that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had for him is not what Sean Payton's going to bring to the table. Now, can Winston do the job? I do believe he can. All right, but I'm going off of what he did in Tampa at the end. I'll give him credit the fact that he had bad coaching. Bruce Arians, in my book, is not all that of a great coach. I just think he's one bombs away, throw right. If Winston got a better coach, which he does, he has Sean Payton. Sean Payton will not tolerate him throwing the ball, 40, 50 times deep, or whatever he may be. That's not going to happen. Yeah, he got a great arm and everything, but he has to show them here in New Orleans that he's capable of taking this team because they have the talent around him. They're not going to ask him like they do in Arizona or like they do in Seattle. Hey, you go out and win the game for us. Not here in New Orleans. If he can play within Sean Payton's role and game plan, I think Winston can get the job done. Now, is he better than Hill, the quarterback? Yes, by far. I truly believe Winston will be the quarterback here. I have to see it first on the field if he can do it. Halfway through the season, if he's got more picks than more picks and touchdowns, I will call you, Soul, and we're going to discuss this.
And look, if he does well and we win in games, I will call you.
And I'm going to expect you to. Trust me. I will not look at your caller ID and not answer it. I will answer you.
Right. We all have our different opinions, and I believe that everybody can get a second chance. And like I said, the guy, after just listening to him and just watching him on the sideline, he wasn't upset. He wasn't mad that he wasn't playing. Even when Taysom got the nod, he took that like a team player. He was a cheerleader on the sideline. He was pumping the guys up. He was a great leader. And Sean even said that. And
let me ask you this. Let me ask you guys this. All right, you saying all this? Mm-hmm. The Saints would have got Wilson or Watson. Would you have said, "Whoa, no, we got Winston here. Don't go get him. We already have Winston." Would you prefer having Wilson or Watson on this roster in place of Winston?
Well, you have to understand, those are established quarterbacks that was winning. Okay, so, Russell Wilson's got a Super Bowl.
Okay,
could have had two if they would have ran Marshawn Lynch.
Correct.
So those quarterbacks, yeah, of course, but we would have had to give up so much.
That is true. That's the thing. And the Saints don't have anything to give up.
Exactly.
I tell you right now.
I don't know about Deshaun right now.
Yeah, I was going to say I would take Winston over Deshaun, but as far as over Russell Wilson, I would take Russell Wilson over Winston, just for the simple fact that he has the experience, and he still got the quality of talent to lead the New Orleans Saints. Yeah, I'm talking about Wilson right now. He still has that level of talent left in his tank. I mean, to lead the Saints, because one thing about the Saints offense, a quarterback really doesn't really have to put the game on his shoulders. And I think that's why you take a Russell Wilson if he's available. Mm-hmm. And, the most we probably would have given up was a lot of draft picks. I don't think the Saints would have given up Kamara or anybody starter. That would have been absolutely stupid because we're going to be right back in the same situation. But you bring in a Russell Wilson with Michael Thomas and Kamara, you do have a legitimate shot of a Super Bowl this year. Now with Jameis Winston, realistically, you probably gonna be looking at 2023 for a Super Bowl. a good thing about, but in any situation, we're still good, and because we still got quality quarterback. Winston is not going to have to be the man, as you could say, with the Saints. All he has to do is just fit in, be a team player, do what he has to do, and just take care of the ball, which I think he would probably do. And to be honest with you, I like the point that you made about Sean Payton not going to have him throwing a whole bunch of deep passes. To be honest with you, and Mr. Fourcade, you could probably second his motion. If Winston gets crazy with his interceptions, Sean Payton gonna pull him anyway.
Correct.
He's not gonna let Jameis Winston get to no 30 interceptions. I think he probably pulled the plug on him at about 15, maybe 16. But he's nowhere in the world Sean Payton is gonna let Winston get the 30 interception. Now, will he get the 16 interceptions? I seriously doubt it.
Right.
Because he has a more balanced offense around him than he did against when he was with Tampa Bay. But going back to your point about Russell Wilson, yeah, you don't take a Jameis Winston over Russell Wilson, because there was another thing we got to mention is the leadership factor. Russell Wilson is a leader too, established leader, something that you would need on a team like the Saints. You got your Kamara. I guess you can kind of call him a veteran. You could probably call Michael Thomas a veteran. But the leadership usually will come for your quarterback position, which is something that you can probably relate to. And when you bring in a Russell Wilson, you're instantly bringing in a leader. And that's something that Deshaun Watson is not going to bring in if he was to come from Houston, because he's just been in the league, I guess, 2 years now, maybe 2 or 3 years.
I think he's been in 4 years in the league.
Has it been 4 years now?
Yeah, but the thing too we have to talk about is this. When Teddy Bridgewater was here playing 5-0, and when Hill was playing 3-1, it just goes to show you the Saints don't need a star at quarterback. They just got to play within what Sean Payton is asking them to do. Now, the defense for the Saints is way much better than it was 3 or 4 years ago. So the Saints say, look, if Winston can come in here, look, he's going to throw picks. We understand that. All quarterbacks throw interceptions. Some that their fault, some not their fault. But if he can keep his interceptions, let's just say he plays a year and he's got 10, 11, 12, they can live with that. Now, if he's got 15, 16, 20 touchdowns, they can live with that. But the whole key to New Orleans Saints is other players around him, the Kamaras, the Michael Thomas, the offensive line. You got to find another wide receiver or two. The defense has to improve a little bit because they lost some players. They're going to have to improve that secondary. This is a solid team. Like you said, bringing Wilson in here, yeah, that put them at a Super Bowl contenders. But they don't have Wilson. They have Winston. So that means that Sean Payton has to step up. And let's see what Sean Payton can do. Because let's remember this, guys. He's also drafted other quarterbacks that did not produce or make it with the New Orleans Saints. Only guy he's ever had, the guy number 9, named Drew Brees. He's out the window. So now they have to find out what Winston can do, but mostly can Sean Payton coach this team without a Drew Brees?
I think he's much more mature now. Like I say, he was married. He's married. He just had a new baby. He has a 2-year-old daughter. And one thing he said, I want to quote that, Jameis Winston on what the 2021 Jameis Winston would say to the 2015 Jameis Winston. I tell myself one play is not going to win the game for you. You can't win the game off one big play. Take the completions, let the consistency outlast everything else. And I think that right there, by him saying that, he learned that from Drew.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's no doubt. He learned a lot from Drew. I believe that. Look, he lived 2 houses down from my brother in Metairie. And my nephew, my handicapped nephew, Taylor, used to ride us in the wheelchair up and down the street. They would chat. He talked highly of him. And if my little nephew can talk highly of who's a football coach in high school right now, then he knows a lot about football. He thought very highly of Winston, that he thinks Winston can get the job done. And it goes to with Sean Payton. You got to coach it. Bruce Arians, I can get off of him another hour and a half show. But Bruce Arians, in my book, wasn't his answer. And look, Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay and said, Bruce, you keep quiet, let me run the show. And he played his style of football. And I think that's what Winston has to do here. Let Sean Payton coach the game, and you just play within the game.
And you know what? I was going to wait to show this, but David, run that Jameis Winston for people who didn't see it, and we're going to elaborate on it. Run that video of Jameis right quick.
Okay. All right, let me get to it right quick.
You know, and you know, a lot of people were saying you think it's BS, but you know, I feel that you know, Breeze really made an impact on this young guy. You know, let's listen to it.
You know, I guess what did that moment mean to you? Being able to be with him in those moments, and if you want to talk about it, what did the two of you say to one another?
Well, that moment to me was like being able to have an entire season with Drew Brees was a dream of mine. And for him to put his arm around me, you know, just give me any encouraging words after I saw the resilience, the passion, the way that he went and approached every single day. For that to even be a story, like I was touched by that because he doesn't even know how much he means to me and my family, for real. But I'm not gonna share what he shared with me. I don't even remember, but it touched me. Having a chance to play in the playoffs after like winning a playoff game, like getting a chance to throw a touchdown in the playoffs. Like I love football. That's all I've done my entire life. And someone that I look up to, that I admire, that I actually could touch was my teammate, and I had a chance to serve him. Like, man, I'm speechless. That really gets me emotional because I really love Drew Brees. Like, I don't think he understands. I know my wife do, I know my family do, but yeah, I don't understand the impact that him and a lot of other quarterbacks had on me as a quarterback growing up in Belton, Alabama. And y'all never understand, like, a lot of people don't understand that human aspect to an athlete. But, no, man. Just know I love Drew Brees for real. Like, I really do. And I was just happy that I was able to witness what he did, how he persevered last year. And it's still, like I said, it's still, that's why this day about Drew Brees, because it's surreal. I don't even really want to talk, you know, with the media because I want to respect Drew's time. But thank you for, you know, asking that question. That was the best question this whole time because no one's ever asked me that. So thank you.
When you listen to that and you're a Saints fan and you love Drew Brees all these years and you listen to that guy, you know, I mean, you have to support him. I mean, if you're a Saints fan, you got to support it.
Well, that came from his heart. You can tell when a man gets in front. Look, it's hard for anybody to get in front of a camera. And, you know, he was shedding a tear, and for a professional athlete to shed a tear, and he knows what it meant to be playing with Drew Brees, behind Drew Brees, learning from Drew Brees, and like he said, he said we got to the playoffs. I got to be in the playoffs. That's the fact. All players that want to play in the NFL, they want to get to the playoffs and they want to get to the Super Bowl. This young man is going to take what Drew has taught him in the 2 years he's been here and realize that, hey, Drew Brees is going to show me some things. I'm going to learn some things. I'm going to have my mistakes. But maybe he can get on the phone after a game and call Drew and say, what did I do wrong? What are you seeing? But I think the overall picture of Watson has changed. You know, this is not the same guy, you know, with the crab legs and all the other stuff. He's married. He's got a child. He's mature. And he's in the right. He's right. The best thing ever happened to him, he got out of Florida. Thank God he's out of Florida. He's in this state where people here will respect him. But Florida, you get too much stuff and too much issues going on in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think on top of that, I think what Drew meant to him as well is it's kind of more like a boost of confidence coming from a Hall of Famer. Because when you think about Jameis Winston, I don't know how he was in high school. I'm pretty sure he was a blue chip recruit to get recruited by Florida State. But picking up at his college career, you know, he was a Heisman winner. He was a national champion. He came into the NFL. He was a Pro Bowler his rookie year, Rookie of the Year. And then he goes from all these accomplishments to after 2019, he's getting bashed by everybody because of 30 and 7, because of 30 and 7. So you can imagine his pride and his confidence that was getting demolished by everybody who just basically bashed him for one stat. But for him to come to New Orleans to hear a Hall of Famer like Drew Brees say, hey, keep your head up. This is going to be your team when I'm done. I think that's when the emotion probably more so set in, because that's what Drew Brees meant to him. This man went from being on top of the world to the bottom, and now he's like, now I'm at a place where I can build on something new.
When he was thrown in the fire, like I said, he's big-headed, Heisman Trophy winner, first-round pick. He's thrown over there in Tampa, and he's the man. So his head is this big.
Yeah.
He's not really looking up to nobody because he thinks he's that somebody. He was humbled by being released and getting on this Saints team. That humbled him. And he said, well, damn, you know what I'm saying? And now I have a real person to look up to. He probably never had nobody to look up to,
Well, you said you hit the nail on the head. All the things, David, that went wrong for him in Tampa. One, he had a coach that was bashing him and talking bad.
Yeah.
Look, you saw what Bruce Arians did with Tom Brady. Just think what he was doing with Jameis and Winston. We don't know all the details, but he had to have a bad situation there in Tampa. And the fact that I made this comment, he stayed in the state of Florida. All the problems that happened with him was in the state of Florida. He had to get away. The best thing that could have happened to him was to go somewhere else. And he went to the right scenario here with a quarterback that was already Hall of Famer talent and a great roster and a great team. If he'd gone to Chicago or Cincinnati or someplace that wasn't really going well for him, he came to the right situation and he was told, hey, you're not going to unseat Drew Brees. He's our guy until he quits. Do you want to be here and learn under him for 1 year? He could have gone other places. We all know that. He took a 1-year deal, came here, took it under the wings of Drew Brees. He's like, I wouldn't say a father figure. He's like a big brother to him. And that was the factor. He had somebody to teach. And when you were in Tampa Bay, it was him. He was riding the show. He was everything. He could throw the ball 5,000 yards. That doesn't mean anything to me. Anybody could throw 5,000 yards. Drew did it 3 times in a row. They went 7-9 in them 3 years. So that doesn't mean anything. The 30 for 30 is because he's losing, and they got to make up games to try to get yardages. So you got to look beyond all that. The guy's got talent. There's no doubt about it. I realize that he had a bad situation there, but he's in the right spot here. Now he has to go out. It's his team, but it's not his team. If you mean by this, it's his team as a quarterback. He don't have to do everything that Drew was doing because they have talent around him. You'll see a different style of football here with him here. You won't see the Saints winning 35-30 or 42-25. If the Saints can win 30-24, 35-28, they're going to take those ball games. They don't have to get in shootouts with it. Just don't lose the game for the Saints.
And let me tell you, John, now I feel like Sean Payton, I feel like his playbook was limited because Drew couldn't really throw that deep ball. So now he can open up that playbook. He's got 2 guys that are going to come in and out that can do anything he wants to do. So I feel like that playbook, he's going to have some fun with it.
Well, you remember now, that's great they got a quarterback and throw the ball deep, but they better find some receivers who can go deep and get it because Michael Thomas ain't your deep threat.
Right.
And you can't keep throwing the ball to a 5'5", 5'6" guy to go deep. He ain't your deep threat. You had Sanders here who you thought could go deep, but Drew couldn't get the ball deep. They're going to use their tight ends. They're going to find a receiver who can stretch the field. That's going to help them because if you can stretch the field a little bit, that'll make the defensive back guys sit back there. Now you can go underneath, and your running game picks up. So you'll see a little bit better in the running department. They'll use the tight end. Look, they brought a great tight end from Denver. They drafted a kid last season. I like what they're doing the tight end. Why? Go out and get you 1 or 2 good, fast, quick wide receivers, and let Michael Thomas do his 15 and under, catch the football and get in the red zone. And that's the offense that still going to score points.
So, Mr. Fourcade, I got a question for you, and I want to get your professional opinion on this. Does Jameis Winston, let's say that he does win the starting job, how does this affect Taysom Hill's snap count at quarterback? Is it going to be less? Is it going to be about the same? What do you think?
Great question. Look, we talked about that on my show Tuesday. It was a great question. We said, what are they going to do with these quarterbacks? Winston will be the quarterback. You're not going to bring him. He didn't sign back here not to be the quarterback. He probably could have gone somewhere else. Here's my take. He's going to be the quarterback. Hill is going to be the guy you saw the last couple of seasons with the New Orleans Saints. He's going to be the same role. If he's not going to be the same role, then they might have a little issues with him. But I don't think that. Hill's happy to be on this roster. Nobody else is going to play him at the NFL court. He's not an NFL starting quarterback. He is a guy who come in there and play quarterback. Now, let me just say this one. They got to come in here this season and say, okay, Hill, each ball game you'll get maybe 6-7 snaps at quarterback where he can throw or run. He'll get his snaps at / running back / tight end, whatever it may be. It's going to be the same he's been doing. Look for the New Orleans Saints to bring in another quarterback who is going to be the backup quarterback unless he decides to play Hill a little bit more to back up. But if you play Hill a lot as the Army switch guy and he goes down with an injury, who's your backup? So you will see another quarterback on the roster, and Hill's going to have to play that role unless it comes to the point that Winston's not doing the job or Winston gets hurt. Then you say, okay, Hill, I'm going to give you that chance again to compete with the backup quarterback like he did last season, came in and went 3-1. David, I don't see him being anything less than what he's done for the last couple of seasons. He plays an important role for the Saints. They understand that. He has to understand that. Take your role. You're getting older in age because he's up there. He'll be in his mid-30s pretty soon. They're not going to use him as a quarterback like they want to use Winston. He'll be on his roster. He'll make his plays. I'm thinking it's going to be the same thing they did last couple of years with him and just sit him down and say, hey, something happens to Winston, we'll play you at quarterback. But right now, you could be the Army Swiss motor knife, whatever y'all want to call it.
Right. Yeah. And he did the same thing with Drew Brees. Drew Brees was the starter, but he used to go out sometime on third down, which I was against that. I thought maybe he should come in first and second down. And when you 3rd and 5, you got to go with Drew Brees to get your first down. But, the way they did it, I think it'll be about the same, maybe a tad more. Taysom might get a few more snaps,
right?
With Winston.
I tell you one thing I am kind of looking forward to seeing, and I'm pretty sure the Saints are going to do this, is that you're gonna have Hill and Kamara and Winston in the game at the same time, and you're gonna split Kamara out one way, and Hill's gonna be in the slot. So if you put Kamara in motion, what are you gonna do? Is it gonna be option that way, or if you put Taysom Hill in motion, the defense gonna do? Is it gonna be option this way, or is it gonna be a Hill pass? It's so much you can do when you got those three guys on the field at the same time.
Well, that's the whole key with this offense. If you get those three guys on the field at the same time, you got two guys who can throw the football. You got Kamara who can catch it and run. You got Hill who can catch, run, and throw. And you got Winston, obviously, who can throw the football. A lot of things can happen when they're all three on the football field at the same time, and that's going to affect the defense. You didn't quite see it last year much of that because Drew Brees, they would put him way out there wide as a wide receiver, and he'd stand there, pick his fingernails and clip his nails, or they take him off the field. But in this situation, you can have all three of them on the field. That's why I kept saying if Hill's in the game with Winston, he can play. Hill can line up at running back. You could toss him the ball. He can run with it, or he can throw with it. Kamara's back there. You can do a lot of things, and that's the thing that Sean Payton has to bring to the table. They can do this 4 or 5 times a game. That's going to offset the defense not knowing what's going on, and that's going to be a plus for the New Orleans Saints. But the main key is this: is that if you got Hill back there and you're doing all this stuff with him, you cannot make him your number 2 quarterback. Because if he was to get hurt, say the first quarter he goes down with an injury because he's throwing the ball or running the football, who's your backup? And then if you don't have a backup on the roster, you better find a punter who can hand the ball off. But if you got a secure backup quarterback, and Hill is your 3rd quarterback / jack of all trades, that's great. And if something would have happened to Winston, then you play the backup quarterback, and then maybe a week later you can say, okay, Hill, you and the backup quarterback, y'all will compete to see who starts the next week if Hill is out for a period of time. If Winston's out for a period of time.
So let me ask you this, John. As far, we don't know because we still, have stuff to do. We got the draft and everything. Do you think the Saints, the offense will still be top 5 Do you think we'll still win 10, 11 games next year, or you think we'll have a drop off, or you think we'll be okay?
Well, the thing that scares me is the fact that we're losing these backup players. You got to understand something. Sanders, wide receiver, you can replace wide. Let me say this, and you guys probably agree. You can find receivers and running back anywhere. They don't have to be in the draft or high rounds. You can get them late, middle rounds, off the street. You can find guys as street free agents. You can find low round. You can find those guys. I'm worried about the defense. And what I mean by that is they lost some defensive linemen. Pass rushers, run stoppers, they lost those guys. You have to replace them guys. The New Orleans Saints had good depth. All right, their secondary, they brought Williams back. Okay, that's kind of whatever it may be. And they got Jenkins back. They're okay in the safety. Lattimore's on one side. Who's going to play the other cornerback? That's going to be an issue. What's their linebacking core looks like? The offensive line, they're going to sign them guys. They could be fine on the offensive line. Their running back's going to be okay. They got good tight end. Do I see them winning 10, 11, 12 games? That's probably what I see. 10, 11 games, I think the Saints can win next season. As far as putting a lot of points on the board, that has to be determined by what style of offense they're going to work with Winston. I still say it's going to be Tampa Bay and New Orleans Saints for the division title. I mean, that's the two teams I see both either in the playoffs. I can't see them both out of the play. I think they're both two good enough teams to make the playoff. I see the Saints could be 10 to 11 games next year. I definitely can see that in the playoffs, and it all depends what Tampa Bay does and see who wins the division.
All right. Well, look, John, we don't want to keep you.
I appreciate it, guys.
Hey, we glad you came on the show, gave us your time today, man. We hope to have you back, maybe closer to the season.
Yeah, let me know when we come closer to the season. Be more than happy to come on and enjoy it. Dave, thank you for having me. Soul, I appreciate it, guys. Y'all be careful. And if you dig up any more old stories from me, let me know in advance. I'll give you some scoop on it.
Please warn me about, because that Dave Trump's ex-girl thing, man.
I was a youngster. I was a young college kid experimenting. You know what I'm saying?
Experiment.
Okay, guys. Thank y'all.
All right.
Okay, have a good one, sir. He said he was experimenting.
Yes, indeed. Hey, look, before we go any further, let's give a shout out to our people out there.
Yes.
Geraldine Too Sweet Thomas. Hey, what's happening? Kelly Grant, Toya Free, Stacy Faulkner, Vicky Gilmore, Jerry Cooter, Mira Trudeau, Sharon Stewart, Tiffany King, all these people that chimed in, Vicky Gilmore, Quincy Robinson, what's up, Wayne, all the way up there in Jackson.
Chantel.
Daniel Taylor, we want to give y'all a shout out. Sorry we couldn't, we was all into it, but we're going to give y'all a shout out from now on, man. Because we appreciate y'all. Chantel Dabdu, that's my girl. Danny Furlow, Michael Clubb, who else we got? Oh, we got the Crack Man from Detroit.
The who man? You said a Crack Man?
Ron Crack Man Crackiola.
Oh.
Don't ask.
You said the Crack Man?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my boy, man. Hey, that's good people up there.
I got you.
We had a ball with them, man. That's good people.
Yeah.
So
yeah, thank you, everybody.
We want to thank all y'all from chiming in. Well, we heard the speech. And like I said, man, we just need to be all in, because like John said, this is going to be our quarterback. Mm-hmm. They're not going to let him hold a clipboard, for the money that they gave him for this 1-year deal. They're not going to let him just sit there and not do anything. So we know he's going to be our starting quarterback, and it's going to be a 2-quarterback system at times. Yeah. And with Taysom doing his thing, Swiss Army knife doing his thing. And I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah, I think pretty much the only reason why we even signed him to just a 1-year contract was because of the cap space. I think after this season coming up, unless Jameis just absolutely just bombs it, which I doubt he would do, but I think after this season, when we clear even more cap space, they'll give him a more long-term contract. That's the only thing. That's the only reason why it was only 1 year, I think.
So, David, you should be happy because you don't like Troutman. So we picked up a new tight end. Let's look at him. We got
honestly, I don't even know who this dude is, but let's look at it. This is gonna be my first time watching that highlight. Let's see what this dude does. Look, all I know about this tight end is that he went to Ohio State. That's all I know, which is a higher realm of talent than Chapman came from. And where he come from, Daytona Beach, technical junior varsity, junior high school, wherever he come from, Chapman. Let's see. Let's check this dude out.
Let's check him out. I never heard of him.
I never heard of him.
But he looked good.
Play fake to Lindsey. Lock, end zone, wide open touchdown. It's Nick Vanette. And that's his first touchdown in 2 years when he was a member of the Seattle Seahawks.
And you take all that energy that it takes to stop the run, and you turn it on them. You make sure that
short passing game and hit on his last 11 passes prior to that. Now it's 2nd and 15. Rudolph. As he throws short and is able
Nice
to
adjustment. Nice adjustment to that catch.
So they go the other way for the touchdown to Nick Vanette. Blitz again. It's picked up this time. Vanette, the tight end, good cut, and a first down. He was not going to get there, but Nick Vanette saw him planted his foot, and he moves the chains for Seattle. Get enough on it.
Play action pass is caught by the tight end, Vanette. Vanette reaches down inside.
I tell you what, he kind of looks
He
like
got a little burst on him. I see a little burst of speed on him.
He kind of looked like Troutman, don't he?
First option taken away. Middle of the field. He throws. What a
Catching in traffic. Okay.
Yeah. Rips it between two Rams.
He kind of looked like Troutman. Favors Troutman.
Well, Vanette just does a great job fighting off the release. And then really, it's just an outstanding job by Russell Wilson.
He used to catch it.
Finding that throw and having to be perfect. I mean, Johnson could have easily.
Wilson to the end zone. Caught for a touchdown.
And traffic again.
6-yard touchdown throw.
It's this route. I mean, he's just going to hook up over the ball. But watch him squeeze this between the linebacker and the safety. Wow. I mean, that is a shot.
Wow. That was going to take a throw.
Play fake. Wilson. No one open. Buys some time. Shovel pass to Vanette, the tight end.
Little speedy.
Yeah, I noticed that a couple plays ago. Yeah, he got a burst of speed. Okay.
Wilson. Petty picks up the block. Wilson.
Oh.
I tell you what.
He got some hands.
This might be a diamond in the rough.
He got some hands. He's catching that ball real low. He's diving, catching that ball. I see some hands on him.
How about that? It's Nick Vanette at 4. Wilson throws, end zone, touchdown. Nick Vanette.
Harold trying to drop underneath Vanette. Wilson under pressure, throws the middle field. Caught Nick Vanette.
I tell you what, if we going off highlights, he sure looks good. So I don't know if we found a free agent Jim or what, but we'll find out once training camp starts.
Whew. I tell you what, I feel good about him. The two things I know is about this guy. First of all, he does have a burst of speed, which is good. Another thing I like about him was him catching the ball, the diving catches, those hands.
His hands.
You know, that shows me that he has strong hands and his hands are sure. You know, diving catches like that and diving catches in between defenders at that, you know, that's not easy to do.
Toughest catches.
And a lot of his catches came in the red zone too, so that's going to put a lot of defenses on notice that this guy is going to be something to look at when we get in the red zone. So that's going to be even better bonus for us as well. I like what I see. I'm gonna do some more. I'm gonna go back. See, with me, when I evaluate players, I go back to their college days. I look at degree of difficulty in their play, and I look at the competition they play against. And by him playing at Ohio State, that lets me know that he's definitely played against a good competition, which is great. That's the difference between him and Chapman. That's the first thing, the first difference, the level of competition in college. Second of all, when I see this man, Seattle and Pittsburgh are more run-oriented, more run-dominated teams than the Saints. So if this man is making catches like that in his limited targets,
right.
In New Orleans, he's going to get more targets.
Right.
So that means I feel more confident now. Seeing that this man got sure hands and got a burst of speed.
Well,
I'm trying to think of the tight end. Who's the tight end we had? And we came from Miami.
Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham went to Seattle, and his numbers fell.
Yeah.
Because they don't use tight ends like we do.
Exactly.
And that's what happened with Russell Wilson, and that Jimmy Graham didn't have the numbers he had here.
Yeah. And then when you looked at the highlights, you seen him run a couple times with Seattle, that seam route in the middle of the field. And that's a Jimmy Graham type route right there. Right. And he got a little speed that you saw. There was a couple plays where he kind of ran away from the linebackers a little bit too. So that's very encouraging. I'm encouraged about this guy. I really am.
So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. What happens with him. It might be a good free agent pickup. That might be a great free agent pickup along with Troutman. Maybe we can run a 2 wide receiver set.
Yeah, 2 receiver, 2 tight end set.
2 tight end set.
Yeah, and then have Kamara in the backfield. Yeah, that opens up a lot. That's going to be more of a play action type formation, if anything.
Right. So we looking at the draft. Our next topic, J.C. Horn, son of Joe Horn, Hollywood. J.C. Horn ran a 4.37. So I think that raised his stock a little bit.
Yeah.
He had a great pro day. He looked good. And I don't know if he's going to fall to the Saints after this.
He might not. When you look at the 40 time, I think the 40 time gets blown up a little bit too much.
Yeah. It's overrated.
3 or 4, that's great. That's the eye opener. That's the thing that catches your attention. But see, there's a difference between running a 4.3 in a straight line and on the and during the game football speed, which is cutting, twisting your hips, sudden movements. That's what's going to determine whether or not you're going to be a good corner. Because wide receivers, slanting goals, post moves. A corner can run a 4.3, but if he ain't able to swivel those hips and he's not able to move quick, he can still get burnt. Right. AKA Marcus Lattimore. Because you seen Marcus Lattimore, he ran the 4.36 in the 40, but then he still gets beat off the line a lot on double moves, slants and stuff like that. So I looked at J.C. Horn's film at South Carolina. Most of his highlights came against an Auburn game. And Bo Nix was the quarterback, which is really who's really not a great quarterback, but he pretty much showed out in that Auburn game, and that 4.37 is, like you say, is just going to raise his stock. He might not even come to the Saints. Sad to say. Hey,
look, I want to go back and talk about. I never did like the combine, and I'm gonna tell you why. I always thought the combine was overrated. I never did like it because. One thing you have to remember, are these players going to be playing almost naked? No, they're not. I think when you go to the combine, you should have a helmet on.
Yeah.
And at least shoulder pads.
Yeah.
Let's see what your time is with helmet and shoulder pads. Let's see you catch all them passes, do the shuttle, all that with helmet. We call that shells, like in practice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why do they let these people? They're almost naked with little shorts on, little tank top. Some of them no shirt. I mean, come on, that's not football. You're not gonna play like that ever. So why not put on a helmet and let's see what they could do with the helmet on. See how many balls they can catch. See how fast they 40 time is. I never did like the combine.
That's a good point. Never thought about it like that. And I guess that does make a difference in a person being able to have football speed in the actual game and a straight 40 time, because when you say, let's say you're a wide receiver or a corner and you're roughly 175 to 206 pounds, when you add all that gear on, that's probably going to be another 4 or 5 pounds of gear. That's going to slow down not only your straight line speed, but your maneuverability.
Right. Your side to side speed, all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So I never did like the combine, but nobody else thinks like me because I'm like, oh, he ran a 40, but he was buck naked. He was half naked.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see what he could do with a helmet and shoulder pad. We never see what these dudes run with gear on.
Exactly.
That's when you time them.
I think Bill Belichick said it the best. I don't care much about the combine. Show me the film. And I agree with him. It's what you do on that film. That's what counts.
And I have seen dudes that were terrible at the combine and turned out to be Hall of Fame players.
Exactly.
You know? And I seen dudes that was that was, you know, poor. I mean, great in the combine, had all kind of great numbers, and turned out to be busts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a classic. I'm gonna just give you a quick example. I'm gonna compare Marshawn Lattimore to Trey White, Tre'Davious White. I promise so. I did a live draft party. I was at a pizza establishment here, and I did a live with a draft show for the draft. Mm-hmm. And man, when I just knew they were going to draft Trey White, I said, you got to draft Trey White. This dude, Marshawn Lattimore, he only played a year and a half in college. He has a history of injuries. He didn't go against no top-notch receiver in college. Trey White went against Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, you name it. That's who he went up against in the SEC, 4-year starter. And his 40 time was, I think, around a 4.45, something like that. It was slower, but Trey White was just absolute blanket you. And man, when they said that they drafted Marshawn Lattimore, I went berserk because I already knew. Now Marshawn Lattimore, he shut me up his rookie year. His rookie year, there's no doubt that he was top 5 corner in the league.
Right.
There's no doubt about that. But then after that rookie year, started dwindling. He started dwindling. Whereas Trey White, he started rising. But Trey White did not have a great combine. He really did. He didn't have the blazing 40 time. He really didn't have, I guess you'd say the best drills. But you got to turn on the tape. He blanketed everybody he covered. Mm-hmm. Classic example. And now you look at it now, Trey White is absolutely, if you can sit here and name somebody better than Trey White in the NFL, please do. Because the man went the whole 2018, 2019 season without getting scored on. When you look at Buffalo, and matter of fact, this past season, I think the only time he got scored on this past season was that Hail Mary pass that Kyler Murray threw to DeAndre Hopkins to win that game against the Cardinals. When you look at Buffalo, if Buffalo is in man, they don't even look at Trey White's side. They don't even look at the way. Now, they will go after Marshawn Lattimore. Marshawn Lattimore, he's good at hands. He's good at hands. He'll grab you, hold you a little bit, and he does have some good recovery.
Hold a little too much.
Yeah, but quarterbacks are not afraid of Marshawn Lattimore. Right. They'll go after him. And that goes to your point about the combine. You got to look at the film and the level of competition that these guys go against. That's my judge right there. Who did you go against? Did you go against the best? Did you dominate? Did you hold your own? And then the combine is like, okay, let's see what you can do naked, like you say.
Right.
That's what I say. You go to combine naked, man.
Our next topic, while we letting players go, our rivals are signing their players for another run.
Yeah.
You look over there in Tampa Bay, man. They signed all their starters back. Except Fournette. I don't know what's the deal with Fournette. Why they haven't signed him yet? Maybe they off on a contract or whatever. They not, the numbers might not be right. But I don't know. And Fournette was a big piece, and then winning the Super Bowl, going to the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl. So I don't know what's up with that, but they done signed all their starters. So Tampa Bay is locked and loaded for the 2021 season. Now, what we gonna do?
Well, we gonna be the same Saints team that whipped them both times in the regular season.
Well, we don't have a lot of the same players.
Well, we don't have the depth. We pretty much have our core starters on the defensive line, and I think the defensive line is what really made this defense, the top level defense that it was. I don't really think it was so much the secondary, but it was pretty much the defensive line. They was number one against the run, and I forget, man, and I forgot. I don't know. I think they were top 10 in sacks, or maybe right at 10 or 11 in sacks, which is good. The secondary did their job. I ain't saying the secondary didn't do their job. They did have a good part because a lot of those sacks were covered sacks. But I still think when you look at this Saints defense, they're still good enough to perform at a high level. I think we lost a lot of our depth players. Losing Trey Hendrickson was big. Losing Jack Rabbit was big. Losing Rankins was big. But when you look at the rotation that these guys played in, that front seven is still going to be solid. The secondary is going to be, but we're still good enough to beat Tampa. I still think we're good enough to beat Tampa, especially with our playbook is not going to be limited to dumps and dives, passes with Drew Brees. I think we're still good enough to win division.
Yeah, I think we'll be all right. One of my co-hosts from my other show, Saints and Sinners, David Robbins, said Lattimore is a 3-time Pro Bowler, pretty damn good, because he couldn't believe we were talking about him. But you have to understand,
David Robin, look at his stats, David Robin.
The Pro Bowl is overrated also, and I just learned that last year when Trey Hendrickson didn't get the call.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
This dude was top 2 or 3 in sacks.
12 and a half.
Get the call. It's a fan thing, bro.
Yeah, it's all about fan voting. Marshawn Lattimore. I'm not saying he's a bad corner.
We're not saying that Lattimore had one of his worst seasons last year, and he made the Pro Bowl. Jack Rabbit outplayed him, and you know that, David.
Oh yeah.
So we look at the Pro Bowl. Even my boy Siriaco said Pro Bowl. And I wish they have a better system with the Pro Bowl. I mean, they have to, because we got a lot of snubs that should have been Pro Bowlers, and they weren't.
Exactly. I'm not saying that Marshawn Lattimore is a horrible corner, but I'm saying is if you put him against Trey White, I'm gonna take Trey White all day long. You look at Trey White's stats and you look at Marshawn Lattimore's stats. Trey White gives you interceptions. You know what interceptions are? Extra possessions for your offense. That's what I'm looking at. Marshawn Lattimore, will he still be a top 10 corner? Maybe borderline, but there's no doubt in my mind that you ask pretty much any GM or coach, Trey White is the best corner in the draft, and the Saints had a chance to draft him, but that's a rant I've had before.
You like Trey White, like Jameis Winston, like Drew.
Well, I mean, he's a proven corner. He's a proven corner. He got the LSU.
But we can't get him.
He was that he shut down. He shut down Mike Evans, who was a Pro Bowl. Since they want to use Pro Bowl, he shut down Mike Evans, who's a Pro Bowl. He shut down Amari Cooper, who was a Pro Bowl. He shut down what's the wide receiver that played at Ole Miss? I can't remember his name. Trey White shut down more quality receivers in college than Marshawn Lattimore even competed against. And it translates into the NFL. Like I said, Marshawn Lattimore rookie year, he shut me up. He had me shut up completely. He was top notch, top 5 corner. But after that first year, then the stats prove it. It started declining.
Look, our last topic of the day, we're going to talk about our Pelicans.
Woo, child.
Oh, man. I was at the game. I was at the Laker game. And the Pels did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
You don't have AD. You don't have LeBron. What you supposed to do? You're supposed to win the game. And they won the game in a big way. You know, from start to finish, they dominated that game, and that's what they were supposed to do. You know, so I was very happy with them. They just need to do that, man. When you play teams you're supposed to beat, you got to win them games. If they want to make the playoffs or be in the little tournament at the end, then we have to win these games, brothers. We have to win these games. And all those Laker fans, Siriaco, Geraldine Too Sweet, we sorry. You know, y'all gonna be all right.
You know, they're not going to be too sad because the main thing they're going to say is no AD, no LeBron.
The Lakers, they know what the Lakers gonna do. I think LeBron just getting a rest anyway. He said that's Superman. He can't get hurt. I ain't never saw LeBron have a serious injury.
Yeah, and you know, I was watching your other show with David Sirocco a couple of weeks ago, Saints and Sinners.
Right.
And I think it was David who made the point about Jackson Hayes, you know, comparing him to the Chris Paul, the center that played with Chris Paul, and they just ran that pick and roll to death.
Man, if we had Chris, you would see so many highlights, many alley-oop highlights. He's the best alley-oop point guard I have ever seen.
And I'm killing myself because I can't think of that center's name because Dave Robin mentioned him on the show. And I think
about Tyson Chandler, was a Pelican.
Yeah, he was with the Pelicans, and then after he left the Pelicans, he went to Dallas.
Tyson Chandler,
exactly. That's a good comparison, but for Jackson Hayes, because Jackson Hayes defensively has really stepped up over the last month, blocking shots, intimidating shots. He catches some highlights, alley-oops every once in a while, and I think that would be the best role for for Jackson Hayes. Run pick and roll with this man. The man is 7 foot tall. He got hot. Run pick and roll with Lonzo Ball or Kyrie Lewis. Run that pick and roll. Do the same thing that Chris Paul did with Tyson Chandler. Now, it's a different ball game when you have Steven Adams in. Steven Adams is more like your hustle guy. You know, he can come in. He actually got a jump shot. But when Jackson Hayes in the game, man, run that pick and roll. Because remember, Chris Paul and Tyson Chandler, that pick and roll led them to the playoffs. Yeah, they almost won the Western Conference.
They were beasts with that pick and roll, man.
They came a half a game winning the Western Conference behind the Lakers. I forget what year. But that pick and roll was deadly.
Mm-hmm.
And here's another thing too about the Pelicans, and I think this is something that this is on Van Gundy. When you think about the great teams that won multiple championships over the years, the Celtics, the Lakers, the Bulls, the Pistons, they had your superstar and you had your role players. You know, thankfully for the Pelicans, we have a superstar in Brandon Ingram. We have I guess I could call him a superstar, Zion Williamson. But we got solid role players, but they're not trying to play like role players. They're trying to play like they're the man. And I think Van Gundy needs to sit this team down and say, hey, okay, Steven Adams, Lonzo Ball, Bledsoe, Walker, all of y'all are role players.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are not Brandon Ingram. Y'all are not Zion. Y'all are role players. This is going to be your role. You do this. That's what made Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Craig Hodges, John Paxson, all them successful.
Yeah, let me say one thing right quick. Hold your thought. Like you said, they had their role players, but Jordan had Pippen, so it was two superstars. Dwayne Wade had Shaq.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant had Shaq. And then you look at the team today, AD and LeBron. So each of those teams had two superstars and the rest was role players.
Exactly.
And that's how they did it. I mean, you look at that and, man, you look at that Golden State Warrior team, they had like 3-4 superstars and role players.
Yeah.
When they had, what's your boy, Steph Curry, they had Kevin Durant, they had, what's the other guy that shoot threes?
Klay Thompson.
I mean, look at that's the big three right there. Just like Brooklyn's team right now, the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, some teams, man.
But when you look at that,
sometimes it's just not fair.
Yeah, and when you look at that Golden State team, Steph Curry was a man before Kevin Durant got there. But when Kevin Durant got there, when the game was close at the end, who took the shots? It was Kevin Durant. Steve Curry humbled him. He kind of held back and said, "Okay, Kevin, you know you're the ultimate mismatch on this team. So you take the shots down the line. I'm going to still hit my threes. Klay Thompson's still going to hit his threes. Draymond is still going to, be intimidated in the paint. But when it came down to it, and that was the reason why they won those championships. KD was the man when they needed him to be at the end of the game. He was the one taking those shots. So the Pelicans can still follow the same formula. They got talent. You look at today, I think the Pelicans are saying we're satisfied with what we got. They didn't make no major moves. They got rid of JJ. But that lets me know the Pelicans are saying themselves, we're satisfied with the talent that we got. We got a boatload draft picks. We'll worry about that when that time comes. But right now, we're going to develop what we got here. And they are a talented team.
Mm-hmm. And they need to get Lonzo Ball more involved. Right now, I seen him the other day. They lost a game. He walked off and just left the team. Everybody else was dapping up the other team. He just left off the court like he didn't want to be. They got to get him involved.
Wow.
And I know his dad is in one ear. LeVar need to just go sit down somewhere, man. That's an aggravate. I knew when he came here, he was going to have a problem with his dad. Lord, I don't know how organizations deal with that guy. And any place that his son go, is going to have to deal with that. If his son doesn't do well and they don't win games, I never wanted my son there. He need to leave them. I never wanted him there. Now, when he first came to New Orleans, he said he wanted him here. You remember that?
Yeah, he sure did.
He wanted him to leave the Lakers. Now he wants him to leave here. Soon, Lonzo going to run out of teams.
Yeah, he's going to be developing a bad reputation. And I'm also worried about LaMelo over there in Charlotte. Is he going to be the same way with LaMelo? Right. Is he going to ruin his career if LaMelo starts playing horribly and the Charlotte Hornets start losing?
As a father, you gotta let your boys be men and step back and just watch. Just like Dell Curry with Steph Curry, and a lot of other fathers that sons play in the league right now. They played in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And LeVar didn't even play in the NBA, did he?
No. He probably,
he ran off at the mouth. Yeah, he ran off at the mouth, and he don't even have no accolades, no nothing. So
man, so Lonzo walked off the court and didn't even celebrate with his teammates.
Nope, he was gone.
That's not good, man.
That's not good.
That is absolutely not good. It's some issues going on there, and I just hope that it doesn't get too bad in the locker room. Wow.
Well, y'all, time flies when you're having fun. We had another great show. Me and my man Dave. We didn't have no filter this time, man. So we missed a little of the drama and the fun from my boy No Filter. But we wish him well. He out there on that road. He had a problem with his truck. And we wish him well out there, man. And he will be on the next show. We'll probably be back Sunday. And next week, we got another special guest. It don't stop. So thanks for joining in. Nothing personal, straight biz. See you next time on Tell It Like It Is.
Amen.
All right, y'all. Thanks for joining in. See y'all next time.